Burundi's President Evariste Ndayishimiye on Friday accused neighboring Rwanda of backing rebels blamed for a string of attacks on his country's soil, including a deadly raid a week ago. Burundi said the Red group carried out a December 22 attack near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo and killed 20 people, including women and children. These armed groups have been provided with shelter, food, offices, and money from the country that hosts them. Rwanda and Ndayishimiye said at an event in eastern Burundi broadcast by local media. People who kill ordinary citizens, what do they want? He said. Why kill 3-year-olds, a child who is still in his mother's womb? They are terrorists, and we must fight them with all our energy. In a statement responding to the Burundian leader's claims, Red denied it had killed civilians or that it was supported by any foreign country. The group, which has a base in the eastern DRC province of South Kivu, emerged in 2011 and is now the most active of Burundi's rebel groups, with an estimated force of between 500 and 800 fighters. I told Rwanda it should know that if it continues to help someone who kills children, it is cultivating the virus of hatred between the peoples of these two countries, Ndayishimiye said. He said Burundi had been trying in vain for 2 years to persuade Kigali to hand over the rebels so they can face justice. I think the future is bleak for this country that is helping them, he added, without elaborating. The Burundian government said all but one of those killed on December 22 in the town of Vugizo were civilians, including 12 children and 3 women, 2 of whom were pregnant. Red claimed responsibility in a message on X, formerly Twitter, saying it struck a border post and killed 9 military personnel and a policeman. In another post on X on Friday, it denied it killed any civilians and said the group is not supported by any country. It only has the support of the Burundian people. On December 11, Red Tabara fighters also exchanged fire with the military in northwestern Burundi. The group is accused of waging deadly violence in the East African country since 2015 but had not been active since September 2021, when it carried out a series of attacks, including on the airport in the main city of Bujumbura. Relations between Burundi and Rwanda have often been tempestuous. Although ties began improving after Ndayishimiye took power in 2020, they have soured again since Burundi sent in troops to help in the fight against M rebels in the eastern DRC. Burundi joined a regional East African force that was deployed in November 2022 to quell violence in the rest of DRC region. But its soldiers withdrew earlier this month after Kinshasa refused to extend the mission's mandate. The Burundian president said while the government of Rwanda has handed over to Burundi 19 Burundian combatants who illegally crossed from Burundi to Rwanda on September 29, 2020. The combatants were apprehended while crossing into Rwanda along the border stretch in Nyungwe Forest, Ruheru sector of Nyaruguru district, and informed the Expanded Joint Verification Mechanism, GVM, before taking them into custody. The handover takeover was facilitated by the Expanded Joint Verification Mechanism, EJVM, and witnessed by the UN Special Envoy to Great Lakes region on July 30, 2021, at Nemba border post. The Rwandan government was represented by the head of Defense Intelligence, Brig General Vincent Nyakarundi, while the government of Burundi was represented by the head of Military Intelligence, Colonel Ernest Musaba. Brig General Nyakarundi said that the handover affirms Rwanda's commitment to regional peace and security. Today's handover of 19 Burundian combatants is in line with the commitment of Rwanda's leadership to ensure sustainable regional peace, stability and security, as well as enhancing good neighborliness, he said. The EJVM commander, Colonel J. Miranda, commended the goodwill and engagement demonstrated by both countries, Rwanda and Burundi, and said the takeover was a sign of collaboration in achieving peace and security in the region. The handover is the latest of developments as the two countries work to mend relations which broke down in 2015. Both countries have agreed on a number of issues to address as part of the thawing of ties between the two neighbors. On Thursday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, said that relations between Rwanda and Burundi were on track, pointing out that Kigali has expressed its political will to play its part. Why now? The timing of President Ndayishimiye's support for FARDC, WAZALENDO and FDLR, the recent announcement of President Ndayishimiye's support for FARDC, WAZALENDO and FDLR in their attack against the Congolese Tutsi has raised questions about the timing of his decision. Security experts familiar with the situation in the east of Congo offer insights into the factors influencing this move. Role as EAC Chairman. During his tenure as the chairman of the EAC community, President Ndayishimiye played a mediation role, preventing him from openly taking sides. Despite indications of his attempts to influence events in favor of the DRC, he refrained from explicit support. President Ndayishimiye has traveled to DRC several times with the invitation of Felix Kitsekedi, and every time back with sacks of dollars, which motivated him to take the side of supporting the DRC armies with their allies, including WAZALENDO, foreign mercenaries, and the genocidal group FDLR, who committed genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. 1994. Managing internal conflict. Dealing with the conflict within his own country posed challenges, particularly in light of the Bunyoni case and the arrests of key militants. President Ndayishimiye faced pressure from Bunyoni's case, emphasizing the complexities of managing internal affairs. Bunyoni's problem became so serious when he was removed from the post of Prime Minister of Burundi that some began to wonder what was going to happen next because of the bad atmosphere between the President of Burundi and Alain Guillaume Bunyoni, who was replaced as Prime Minister. On the morning of this Wednesday, the 7th, the members of the Parliament of Burundi approved the candidacy of the Minister of Security and Human Development in Burundi, Gervais Ndirakobucha, for the position of Prime Minister. Reliable sources said that the members of the National Assembly joined him in this activity after a message was sent to them that they were urgently needed. In the primary elections held, the members of the parliament who participated all voted in favor of Lt. Gen de Police Gervais Ndirakobucha, who was the Minister of Security, as the only candidate for the position of Prime Minister. Bunyoni ended up being imprisoned, and after a trial, he was sentenced to permanent imprisonment and the confiscation of all his property. This continued because of the burden on Ndayishimiye because Bunyoni has senior soldiers who supported him and tried to escape him, but he was arrested before he crossed the country. Corruption concerns. The specter of corruption loomed, further complicating the political landscape. Sources say that the president accepted a lot of money as a bribe to agree to send troops to the DRC. But first, it was difficult because he was the chairman of the EAC. This is what happened because the Burundian soldiers were given their uniforms, DRC Army's uniform, at the airport. They took off theirs and painted the uniforms of the DRC Army, and went to commit genocide in the DRC in collaboration with FARDC, WAZALENDO, FDLR, and mercenaries. This was repeated by the Burundian soldiers who were caught in the fighting with DRC elections. President Ndayishimiye awaited the outcome of elections in the DRC, particularly concerning Felix Kitsekedi. He felt uneasy about the security of his armed forces' collaboration with groups like FDLR and mercenaries, particularly if Colombo was not re-elected. With the elections unfolding in their favor, he voiced collaboration after ensuring the political landscape aligned with their interests. According to the president of the deployment of Burundian forces is also driven by financial motives, amid the economic crisis prevailing in Burundi. The challenge lies in deciding how the acquired funds will be directed, raising questions about whether they will be used to support civilians or diverted for other purposes. Despite assertions that he doesn't care, citing his family's ample reserves, it's crucial to note that the presidential budget has increased from 3 billion to 3.5 billion Burundian currency between 2022 and 2023. Bisimwa continues. President Ndayishimiye is looking an excuse to continue his massacres against Congolese Tutsi in DRC. On 29 December 23, President Felix Ndayishimiye accused Rwanda of supporting and training the rebels of RED he accused of killing elderly people, pregnant women, and children. Contrarily to the Ndayishimiye accusation, 19 members of rebels of Red Tabara, who have crossed Rwanda from Burundi on September 29, 2020, were handed over to the Burundi government by Rwanda on 30 July 2021. The statement by President Ndayishimiye of Burundi is untrue, and the GOB is aware of that. This accusation is a diversionary strategy of the GOB to justify the deployment of FDNB in North Kivu that went wrong. The FDNB has joined the FARDC-led coalition, composed of local and foreign armed groups, including the FDLR, that seek to uproot Congolese Tutsi under the guise of fighting M. Since October 2023, the FARDC-led coalition launched attacks against M but has lost territories, while a number of FDNB soldiers were either killed or captured by M. The deployment of Burundian forces is also motivated by financial gains in the context of the economic crisis that currently prevails in Burundi. The new scapegoating strategy is seemingly meant to externalize Burundi's internal problems and attribute them to Rwanda. This is a strategy currently used by the DRC President Tshisekedi. It was also used by late President Nkurunziza amid the 2015 political crisis. The number of Burundian soldiers who are being killed in DRC is skyrocketing. So far, Burundi has reportedly lost 4 officers and over 100 soldiers. Some soldiers are frustrated for they don't understand the underlying essence of their combat, given that they are fighting and dying for people who don't even want to fight for themselves. They complain that they are accused of being overpaid by their co-combatants, even though they don't receive the money. A remark to those who may be entertaining the idea that the order of Burundian involvement didn't come from Burundian president and his TAP major. Hopefully they ain't get to be convinced by the time. I am certain that this president and